So my job as a coach, I've got many jobs, but the most important one by far is to create a culture of excellence where students come in and have high standards for themselves and focus on skill acquisition as the single most important thing in their life. Okay, if you want to get to the top, the thing you might need more than anything else is skill. Okay, you can talk all the way about natural talent, this, natural talent, that. Skills are what make you stand out from the crowd. So my job is to create a culture where skill acquisition is everything and standards are very, very high. So that no one's happy with getting the skills of a blue belt. They want the skills of a world champion. The lowliest guy in the room has the dream in his mind of becoming the best guy in the world. Okay? My job is to foster a community of people where everyone in the room thinks that they're fighting either to become a world champion themselves or to be part of a cauldron that's so hot that it creates world champions in that room. That's the minimum. Okay, and if you can create a culture like that, you'll do something special and you'll mimic what happens all around this world of ours. That success or failure in sports, and this extends outside of sports, it goes into everything else. You show me any industry in the world, technology industry, it's always uneven development. Okay, why does Silicon Valley have 90% of the tech industry in the world? Okay, if Silicon Valley was destroyed tomorrow, technological progress around the world would be severely impacted for the next 50 years. Okay, that's how concentrated it is. This world of ours is built around the idea of concentrated cultures that build excellence in certain domains, okay? And I took that model and put it into one gym. And my job as a coach is to create a culture. And once you create that culture, magic can happen. And the basis of that culture is to develop a community of people who are obsessed with skill acquisition, and to create a set of standards that they look up to where nothing less than the best is good enough.
Incredible. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. So standards and skill acquisition. Skill acquisition is the growth, and standards is what you're holding yourself to.
So my job every single day I wake up is to ask myself, am I doing the best I can to get these guys the skills they need to win? And everything I do in my life is just an answer to that question.
Brilliant. John, that's amazing. Thank you. We ask the same 3 questions at the end of every episode, sort of more quick fire questions. So the first one is there anything you've come across recently or discovered that you're particularly excited about?
The things that I'm most excited about are things I've known for a long time.
Okay.
I won't say that these are things I've recently discovered. No. There are many things that I've recently discovered, but they tend to be smaller things. But for me, the big thing is always the idea that the most important thing I can do as a coach is to look for items in my sport which people undervalue, but which have high intrinsic value. That they are valuable, but people don't recognize them as such. And if you can get a good sense of what these things are, learn them, teach them, the people who learn under you will have a massive advantage over their competitors. There's 2 kinds of value out there. There's the actual value of a product, and there's its perceived value. And these 2 things are often very different. There are many things out there that are very valuable, but no one perceives them as such. I'm told that when America was first settled by Europeans, they discovered lobsters in Maine. They were in such a vast number that they were disregarded. They were seen as like cockroaches of the sea. And so they were known as poor people's food. Poor people ate lobster because it was just everywhere and it looked like insects. And yet here we are today where lobster is the most expensive thing in a restaurant. There's a sense in which back then something which was valuable was perceived as cheap. And there's many, many products like this. my job as a coach is to look at the sport of jiu-jitsu and identify movements, tactics, which have real value, could be a very, very valuable part of a coaching program, but are not perceived as such by most people in the sport. And if you can get one of those things, it's like finding a stock, which is very cheap. It's like finding Amazon stock in 1997. Very, very cheap, but one day it'll be very, very expensive.
That sounds like a fun game to play. The next one is, if you could only offer one habit, this could be to your students or this could be to anyone who's listening, that's going to benefit them in a positive way and improve their performance. What one habit would you choose?
For everything you do, ask one question. Is this really the best way of doing things? Because in the vast majority of cases, the reason you're doing things the way you are is because that's the way you were taught. It's not because you've proven to yourself or to others it's the best way of doing things. It's just the way they've always been done. And so if something's important, ask yourself, is this really the best way it could be done? And then you'll see some interesting things.
It's a great question to break the conditioning. Yeah, a great question. Okay, the last one of these is, if you take yourself back to a particularly challenging moment in your life, and you can share the story of that if you want to as well. Imagine there's two versions of yourself that has faced that challenge. What's the key trait between those two versions, one of which has allowed you to get to where you are in your life today, seen all the things you've had, experienced all the things you've experienced, had the success that you've had, versus the version of yourself who wouldn't have done those things, wouldn't have been able to do them?
Are you asking this in terms of if things had been different, would have been different outcomes?
I suppose.
As it stands, your question is a little vague and ambiguous.
Yeah. I suppose if the event remains the same, what's the trait or the reaction or the response from you that allowed you to go on and have the career that you've had versus a version of yourself who didn't make it?
Well, probably the most pivotal moment in my career would be the decision I had to make between going the safe route to academia versus the very risky route towards jiu-jitsu. And I've always been a believer in calculated risk. And I was taking a huge risk when I left academia. That would have been a very comfortable, predictable lifestyle. And I was trading that in for something which was anything but. Like, I had a crippled body and a sport where you're expected to be strong. I'd started very late, and the sport was a very obscure, even poorly looked upon sport at that time. So there was a huge risk. And I think if I'd been overly interested in safety, then nothing would have happened. I would have been a quiet professor at a small university in the Midwest for 20 years and then gone to a bigger university as I got older. So there's a sense in which if I had been more concerned with safety and probability, this jiu-jitsu career never would have happened. And that would have definitely shut a door on things. So I've always been grateful for the fact that I was able to take a risk, and that I had the ability to identify the potential worth of a product over its current worth. And that's what pulled me through and got me in the direction that I went.